Hi guys, how's everybody doing? Thanks for being here. Let's go to TradingView first, see what Mr. Market's doing. I was looking at some 24-hour quotes from stock quotes from Robinhood. And it looks like things are bouncing. I looked at a couple of them. We'll look at them in a second. We'll look at them in a second. Let's look at see what Bitcoin's doing. Man, BLOX took it on the chin the other day. All right. Well, I mean, let's look at ES, I guess. 24 basis points. I mean, we want to hold that low. We want to definitely hold Friday's lows. We'll see. All right. Hopefully we will. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin is already started painting its bar, but for some reason on ES we haven't started painting a new bar. Oh yeah, we have. Yeah, we have. So that's right. But Bitcoin had painted a bar over the weekend too. So, yeah, of course, Sunday, Saturday. So they actually bottomed on Saturday, came back on Sunday. All right, that's a good sign for the market. Let's go down here to the 30-minute time frame. Come on, 30-minute time frame. There we go. Did it check a prior POC? It's kind of looking like it. Well, it went way beyond the prior POC, so it's whatever. It's been so boring. I've been keeping it on daily lately to get just because. But all right, we'll go back here to weekly. So I forget what this yellow line was for. Oh, it's the top of that gap. All right, we tested it once. We'll see. We're coming up on the underside of it right now. But that's obviously a key level, in my opinion. All right, so the Bitcoin's up half a point. That's good to see. The 10-year is bouncing a little bit, but it's fine. It's low enough. I mean, that doesn't look like problems to me. Let's check VIX futures. VIX futures are cooling down. All right, things are looking good. We'll know more when London opens, or well, I guess when London opens, and then even later in the night. London opens 1 or 2 my time. I think it depends on what time of year it is, and then usually by 4 or 5 we know more. All right, well, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right, so what's the matter, Jackson? Hey, G. Will, thanks for being here. Is ULTY going back to 5? Something good entry point. I mean, I like ULTY. We'll talk about ULTY in a little bit for sure. Jackson, what's the matter with you? He just acted like he saw a ghost. I was just going to show I got on. Well, darn it. I don't know where it was. Maybe I shut the window. I could swear I just had this open somewhere. I didn't know if they would show quotes, stock prices, but they did when I had it open a second ago. Oh, here it is. All right. So yeah, of course we can look at the S&P and that other stuff on there, but I was looking at after hours ULTY trading, and it was up. Yeah, it's up 1.16% right now. It's up 7 cents, which is good. I mean, yeah, it'll probably go to 5 someday, and I mean, depending on your goals and stuff, it could be a good entry point. But hopefully not anytime soon. And hopefully this market bounces here and the rally continues. We'll see. Anyway, that's That's nice, though. Let's look at old Misty, see how Misty's doing. I know a lot of people like Misty and Coinbase and Coney and all the usual suspects. Misty's up 3%. Let's check out Coney, and then we're going to check out COIW. All right, Coney's bouncing. How about some COIW? This is the new hottest one out there. Bouncing up 1.64%. Great job. Let's see, Misty, Coney. Anyway, if there's any else you guys want to look at, you guys know how to use Robinhood, but I didn't find out until today that they had 24-hour market. I mean, I figured you had to have an account with them or something, but no, it looks like anyone can look at 24-hour prices. I mean, let's look at Tesla and Tesla maybe, because that trading view is not worth a darn at night. I mean, you can look at the futures and stuff, but it doesn't show you any stock stuff. Because old Wall Street, what's that called? TradFi, traditional finance, doesn't work 24 hours like decentralized finance does. Look at Tesla up 65 basis points. Man, that's good to see. I wonder if we could just look at anything. I wonder if they have GPTY in here. Yeah, they do, and it's down a little bit. Well, that's a nice tool to have. Anything else we need to check? If there is, you guys let me know in the comments. Hey, Mark, thanks for being here. Do you see I checked COIW? I'm sure you're already on top of it, but it looks good. I'm sure you saw it. I'm sure you saw that. VIX, I don't know if we can check 24. I don't know if Robinhood, that's their traditional finance. I don't know if Robinhood's a VIX. I mean, they do all the, tech stocks, but I don't know if they're going to have, I bet you traditional Wall Street has that locked down. I mean, you can't even get VIX quotes on TradingView. You can only get delayed VIX quotes on TradingView unless you subscribe to the live package or whatever. But let's look. But yeah, VIX on TradingView, VIX is down, but it's delayed 15 minutes. But I mean, to get live VIX quotes, but you can't get quotes on stocks at all on TradingView on Sunday nights. So let's see here. Well, we could check out UVIX. I mean, that's a proxy for VIX. This is the one that ULTY has in their portfolio, and they made a lot of money on that hedge. And they took half the position off. They only have 49% of the position back on. We'll look at ULTY in a second. So yeah, and of course this one's down, but that's good news for the market. Of course, that's good news. I guess VVX is no, not VVX or VXX. Yeah, VXX is a real good proxy for VIX, and I don't think it's leveraged, and so it's not dropping as much because it's not leveraged. I think it's single leveraged, but this is a good tool to sell options on. And then UVXY is the OG. No one uses it anymore though. UVIX has taken over, I guess. Anyway, it's down. It's down. All right, so now let's go to the true. VIX, the index, is just like SPX, the index, is only, SPX opens at 8:30, NDX too, and closes at 3 o'clock. They work bankers hours. They don't even go to 3:15, and that's true of VIX, but the derivative products trade after hours. But yeah, these old Wall Street, traditional Wall Street, they have it figured out right. I mean, they come, just think about it. They don't have to come in until 9:30 and they get off at 4:30. That's a pretty good day, known as bankers hours back in the day. And they've been working that on Wall Street and making all this money for years. But now with DeFi and stuff, that's not the case anymore. You have to hustle a lot harder. You have to, commissions are free. They can't. In the old days, a broker could just try to suggest a lot of trades for you to do and kind of get you addicted to trading, addicted to the action, and then he would it gives him an extra stream of income. That's really no longer a profit center for them, but they still have profit centers. I mean, they still have profit centers. I just think that everyone's working harder. Yeah, UVXY works when you catch on one extreme for another or another. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I've ever had a good UVXY trade. I've used it a bunch, but usually, I mean, when I'm using it, I don't want it to come true. I don't. I mean, but it's a decaying MFer. I mean, that's all it does is decay. I mean, you want to talk about erosion. Holy cow. Anyway, volatility erosion, totally different topic. All right. So let's see. I wrote down some stuff I want to talk about. But let's first talk about ULTY and let's talk about the crypto trinity. This is my new spreadsheet. And I'm trying to simplify my life. So not really my life, but my spreadsheet life. So I was just getting too much code and it was making things break and stuff because I obviously don't know what I'm doing. So I had AI just give me a real stripped down code. I only have to do one thing to get it working. Remember, I used to have this color coded. It used to be separated by, every ticker was separated by one and stuff. But that's really all I want to look at. And this is kind of what I like to, this is going to be my little niche, or it has been for a while. But I've always had the ULTY-verse, the GPTY-verse, the Chippy-verse. And, but now the BLOX is around. BLOX is definitely in that crowd. Oh, and the LFGY-verse. Well, anyway, GPTY and Chippy, I mean, maybe I'll do a verse on them, but really the ones that I'm all about right now are ULTY, LFGY, and BLOX. So, so this is going to be a regular thing, and I do want to figure out some way to be able to chart the change from day to day. But like I say, for now, it's just fine that this works and it's easy. So this is based on the other day's close. So, so it's going to be ugly, but these are the stocks that are in there. But the prices are based on the other day's close, but these could be new stocks. I just ran this again tonight. It pulled the stocks from tonight. And what is the deal with Galaxy now? Is it Canadian? Is it in Toronto or something? I don't know if any of you guys use Google Finance or Google Sheets. Google Sheets queries Google Finance. All right. So the way to troubleshoot it is, I'm told from researching, and this has worked for me a couple of times, is type it in here. And if it gets a quote here, sometimes you have to put an additional, sometimes you have to put, like if it's on an exchange, sometimes you have to type in a special symbol or something, but this is on the NASDAQ. So it should come up. I don't know why it's not coming up. Anyway, it's not that big of a deal. But for whatever reason, that one doesn't work. This one right here is a money market. I don't expect it to work and plus this is showing the daily change. A money market's not going to have a daily change. Anyway, so let's look at the stock positions. And this is new. This is new as of tonight. So, or as of Friday's close. So biggest positions, let's see, we'll just put this on its own sheet. I'll make it bigger so okay. So what are the biggest positions? NBIS, that's a good one. Upstart, APP. Evidently, 35% of their portfolio has earnings this week. I found that out from ETF Delta on Twitter. I'm not trying to rip off his content. His content's good, but anyway, I saw on one of his posts, 35% of these have earnings this week. So it ought to be by Thursday, we're going to know a lot more about ULTY. Also, don't they have did somebody tell me, I was thinking about rebalancing. I still am, but they have a dividend on Wednesday. We need to talk about weekly dividends also. That's something else I wanted to talk about. But anyway, we'll stick on topic. All right. I mean, so down here, UVIX, they did have 1.5 last week or something like that. Now it's about half of that. So they did the old take half the money off, and the trade's free essentially. I mean, if you can get it to double, and I'm sure they got more than a double out of it. But if you can get it to, as soon as you get a double, you take half of it off, and then you have essentially a free hedge or a paid for hedge. So it'll be interesting. Now, they didn't have to take half of it off. I guess if they were still super bearish, they could have taken it all off and cashed in the whole. I think I saw they were up 2 million from just that, something like that. So from just the UVIX hedge, and I don't even know what it was. It was some kind of, I didn't even really recognize the trade. It was just puts and calls, selling puts, buying calls. I guess maybe a risk reversal of some type. Whatever it was, they did a great job. All right, so now that's their stock positions. This will be more interesting tomorrow once they start trading and we see these prices moving. These are the weightings right here. I'm sorry. So 4% money market, and I don't know why cash isn't on there. It should be. We'll figure it out though. All right, so here's the Ultiverse. This is cash didn't make it to the Ultiverse either. All right, so this is yesterday's results, but I mean, look at that UVIX and Reddit. What the heck, Reddit? What that's incredible. Did Reddit have something to do with that IPO or something, or did Figma or whatever? That's incredible. All right, so let's go to the option positions, and maybe we can see the cash on here. I think that, yeah, they just didn't pull the cash off for us. So it's only 1.63%. So they're fully invested. And now, as far as option positions go, I'm sure it's standard. Let's just look at their Coinbase one. I like to look at Coinbase is actively traded. Hood and Coinbase are good ones to kind of check out. All right, selling the 330s, selling the 335s, buying the 290s. Oh, and that's it, buying the 290s. So they have two tranches of shorts, two sets of covered calls, 330, 335. So they're effectively at 332.5. And that's going out till the that is going out till the 8th, next Friday. All right, so they've sold the 332.5 essentially and bought the 290 for protection. Boy, I'll tell you what, these guys, I mean, their protection, it wasn't only the UVIX hedge. Also, I'm sure some of these dropped enough to where they, especially on a Friday afternoon, where they win in the money on their put strike, which is good. We're on their put strike they bought. I mean, you can tell because this is a similar strategy to LFGY and BLOX, similar type funds, similar, stuff. And they were only down 2%, which is still not great. I mean, but it was in line with the market, whereas those other ones were down quite a bit more. All right, so let's look at their Hood. What's going on Hood? They have two tranches. They've sold the 104 and 108. So essentially they're short 106 and then long puts at 92.5. Let me see if there's anything else here. I was mainly looking for that UVIX. Yeah, this is the one I'm interested in. So on this UVIX, their other position expired, but they rolled half of it, it looks like. And I'm basing this off ETF Delta. On Friday night, he took a look at this and said that they'd reduced their position by 49%. So I call that half. It's half in my book. So the other thing about half is if Jay really thought it was going to crash and their investment committee thought it was going to crash, they would have kept it on full board. The fact that they took it all half off means they don't know, or maybe they just like that strategy like a lot of people do. Anyway, all right, so what do they do here? They're selling puts to buy call. Well, no, I may have to chart this one out. Well, they're selling puts, the 14 put, so that's bullish, but then they're also selling the 20 calls, so that's in the same amount. So, of course, that is a strangle. But then they're buying puts, so it's just a covered strangle. They have their downside covered. I won't chart that, but we can just picture it. They sold the 20. They sold now the money call. They sold. I don't even know where UVIX is trading. I guess we're going to have to look at it real quick. This is somewhat interesting. Now, this is oh gosh, what am I thinking? Option strat, not UVIX. All right. Am I sharing the screen? I'm not sharing the screen, am I? Oh, yeah. Okay, gosh darn it. All right, I will. I thought I was sharing the screen. But yeah, this would be more interesting if the screen was being shared. Thank you, G. Will, for bringing that to my attention. Where is this? All right, but yeah, check this out. Check this out. Okay, so option strat. So let's go over here to, well, they even have the exact trade. I've seen it in here. It's covered short strength. There it is. Or UVIX. All right, they've sold the 20 call and they've sold the 14 put, and they've done it for next Friday. But then in addition, they've bought a put. Why would they do? I don't understand why they would do that. They did this 10,000 times too. I mean, that's somewhat of an interesting trade. Let's go, but I want to go try because they had a third position on here. All right, Crypto Trinity. Here we go. So they're short the call, short the put. Oh, and then they're long a put in the middle. So they're long this 16 strike put. So we put add buy put. I mean, it's a pretty wild looking trade. Maybe maybe they think volatility is going lower. That's if you switch it to call, but that's what it says right there. Now this has been this has been on since prices were lower, and maybe it was a bullish thing, but maybe they took the bullish swing off, and this is what they have left because they think vol's going lower or staying the same. But in this case, they just don't want volatility UVIX to go up more than 6%. If it stays where it's at, they stand to make $1.4 million. If it gets crushed, and I guess it could. Maybe they're calling for a huge bounce back. If it gets crushed, they could make $3 million for it. Anyway, that's a pretty interesting trade. All right, so I guess we'll save it just to kind of take a look at it. All right, let's go back to the Crypto Trinity. You guys didn't even get a chance to see this, and you didn't miss much. But all I showed you was this chart. Those are ULTYs. These are ULTY stock positions. They have 4% in money market, 1.29% in cash. Biggest positions are MBIS. And you could see they're pretty well fine. It looks like 4% is what they're aiming for. Or it looks like, I bet that's where they start. Some of them grow. Some of them have shrunk probably. A lot of the shrinking probably happened on last week, but Tempest AI is only 2.4%. Webull is only 1.96. All right, so that's it for ULTY. Let's go to LFGY. Here's their stock positions. I'll just zoom that in better. All right, so they got a lot of IBIT, a lot of Mister, and a lot of Coinbase. These guys are all in. I mean, look at this. I mean, very little PayPal and NVIDIA. They don't want any of that traditional Wall Street. That stuff's no good. They got the good stuff, right? And very little cash. So I think these guys are looking for a bounce. Safe to say, or they need one. Let's just say that. All right, so that's the weightings. Now let's look at the LFGY first. All right, LFGY, this is based on Friday's results. It was down, 5.3% compared to 2.12 for ULTY. Nice job, ULTY. Supposedly LFGY has some type of, I heard Jay say that they use the micro Bitcoin index as a hedge. We'll look at the positions that it was on an interview months ago. Maybe they don't do it anymore, but as a partial hedge or a dampener on downside. Anyway, let's take a look. Let's take a gander real quick at the ULTY, or not ULTY, at the LFGY positions. All right, LFGY positions. Let me see here. Yeah, MBTXW puts, selling the 150, buying the 230. Yeah, that's a put spread. That's a bull put spread. Huh. I've tried to chart this one on Option Strat, but they don't show MBTX. It's MBTX. MBTXW is another series of it, but I think it's actually MBTX. Well, it didn't seem to help a lot the other day. I mean, they still dropped 5%, but I don't know. Maybe without it, it would have been a whole lot worse. I mean, hell, BLOX dropped 7%. Maybe they would have dropped 7% with, who knows? Who knows? All right, let's check their trades. As far as their trades on, it's call spreads. That's a call spread. That's a call spread. So they still have call spreads on. Selling on Circle, they're selling the 192, buying the 205. So it looks like all call spreads except for the little hedge position. All right, LFGY. Well, hopefully we'll bounce. They're looking, they need a bounce. All right, so here's the weightings for BLOX, BLOX. I don't know why Ethereum 8, why that is still not showing up. Let's go look at this. Well, these were the daily change for all the stocks they have. That's as of Friday. Okay, let me look at this. These guys, they don't, in my opinion, they don't do as good of a job keeping their information updated as some of the other ones, as YieldMax does. And I would think it'd be the same people. I don't know why I think that, but I think I've heard other people say that too. It could be because they have more. It's not as formulaic. They're doing different things. All right. Well, anyway. But what are they doing? Like in BMNR, they're selling the 40 strike put, buying the 35, in addition to owning the stock. So that's a lightning spread. Coinbase, they just don't want the price to go under 400. They're selling the 400, buying the 380 for next. And well, that one already expired. This is what I mean. They have one in here that says 8-1. That's already done. So I don't know if this is maybe Friday's prices and they haven't updated yet. I didn't go check it manually because I have a script that goes and gets the latest one. So, but this maybe is Fridays or something, or else maybe they just forgot and the person that does this forgot to take that one out, but that one's expired. So what do they really have on Coinbase that's still active? They have a lightning spread, selling the 375, buying the 357.5. So we'll just build one of those really fast. Do it like this. You get the date off this. All right, it's for next Friday. 375, 357.5. Okay. Wow, they're way in the money. They got their strikes blown through. But this surely that's not right. This isn't a new trade. I mean, well, it's just a busted trade probably. Maybe they haven't rolled it yet. It can always come back. I mean, you know, but that's what the position looks like. On Hood, they're short the 103 and long the 98. Let's look at that one. All right, this looks a little better. Let's see. It's a good looking little trade right there. They just want higher prices, don't we all? But they're at a spot on the chart where the first 2.4% they earn double for. They're long through the hang on. It's the same trade. You could do it without stock by doing it that other way anyway. All right. Well, they get double time right here. If it goes up 2.4% by Friday, 2.8%, they make money at twice the rate they otherwise should. That's the cool thing about the lightning spread. They're in the bolt part of the lightning and that the double time or whatever, that where it's steeper there. But then after that point, it's not like they're capped, but they're back to making money just at a 1-to-1 rate as stock would make. The bad thing is where they're at right now. Also, if they get a drop, there, you know, it's a 1.6%. The first 1.6%, they lose money as if they had double the amount of whatever they have. But then after that, it's just like having stock. So they just want higher prices. We'll keep an eye on this one. XYZ, they have XYZ and they have block. It's weird. I think when they buy options from maybe different exchanges or something, because that's something else I don't think that would happen at YieldMax. They would put XYZ on both of them. But maybe some of these are from one market maker or some are from another, different data sources or whatever. But anyway, they have two tranches of blocks put spreads. They're selling the 79s and buying the 76s. With one tranche, selling the 78s, buying the 75s with the other tranche. Well, take that back. One tranche is expired on Friday, so they're actually just are sold the 78, bought the 75. All right. How you doing, Haggis? NVYY. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. What day do they have? Do they pay on? I know that COII pays on Tuesday, or CO2 or whatever. I found a new thing on the internet called monthly dividends, and I also like YieldMite. But I'm trying to build my spreadsheet to have the daily payers on, and I can get the declaration date off Amy's sheet, and that's what I was using, but that's not the pay date. I should have known that. So, and it's not always one day later. The declaration date was Friday for CO2, but the pay date's Tuesday. So anyway, but this guy is doing something similar to what Amy's doing, and this is really interesting. It's called weeklypayers.com, and I forget his name, but I followed him on Twitter. Megabit Matt, that's it, Megabit Matt. Anyway, this is a great source, but I can't really figure it out. So like COI, those are all Tuesday pay. I know that. So this, and I always thought NVYY was Tuesday pay, but the different colors threw me off. Because on another page, anyway, I think this is it. I think this is the actual payday. So does anyone have NVYY? Can you guys confirm if that were YSPY? Heck, I have YSPY, but I closed my account. No, I didn't close my account. I closed my window. No, I did. I was testing a lightning spread there. That's a good looking trade. Great looking, or pretty good looking trade. All right, so let's go to positions. We'll see what Tasty Trade says. Don't I have, yeah, YSPY, and it usually it has the declaration, XDiv on the 25th. Well, that doesn't really tell me. Even if it would just tell me when XDiv was. Is that a weekly, though? It's probably coming around again. Anyway, as soon as I find a good source, or as soon as I can confirm that, I'll put these into my spreadsheet, and we'll be able to pull the weekly pay thing. And also, we're going to go look at the max factor here in a second. In fact, we might do that. We might just do that now. But on NVYY, what did you want to know about it? An opinion or something? We could let's. I mean, you know, I don't want to say all that matters is the parent asset, but that's a big part of it. You know, that's a big part of it. Then the strategy they're using is the other part. So I mean, it just hasn't been around long enough to be. It's gonna be in my ranking system on August 14th. Biggie and Baggy just got put in there today, so we were going to go take a look at that. But I mean, look at it as 18% in less than a quarter of a year. So probably more like a fifth of a year. So that's probably about 96%, just something like that, 90%. Who knows if it'll continue, but you know, so I mean, it just is, as long as NVIDIA is good, this one will be too. Weekly payer. So yeah, and this shows X dates also, not pay dates, but I'll get that figured out. Anyway, let's go look at Biggie and Baggy. I always like the concept of Biggie and Baggy. And they are now part of the database. I nuked a bunch of columns. Still shows loading after hours, and I have 2 terabytes of storage. Everything's fine on that end. So I think during market hours it'll work during market hours. It's just after hours or something. But hopefully it's not affecting anything we want to look at. So not Biggie. Biggie's been available for a while, but BITY, BITY. Yeah, BITY was May, June, July. BITY is brand new because it's just barely over 3 months old. Okay, so let's see what it's telling us. Trades at $56. Trailing 12-month dividend was $3.50, but it can figure out what percentage of a year that was. So that actually comes, it still doesn't come out to a huge yield, only 23%. Yeah, that's right. I could see that. That's exactly right. It's paid about 6%. Yeah. All right. So, but that's fine. I mean, BITY, and what is this? I think it's a 24% target fund, right? Yeah, it's 2% a month. Okay. So anyway, average true range is 2.5% a day. You know, who cares? That really doesn't mean anything until you look at different, like the average true range of COIW is 8.6% a day, but that's mainly because of Friday. It just, I mean, but anyway, so NAV returns 11.3%. That's for the quarter. So it's pairing 11.3% NAV return with a 23% yield. That's why it wasn't in the top 20 right now. I don't know the top 20 is really working, but let's look at this list. I ran it again, and there was one that dropped out because there was an error or something. But anyway, so we have KQQQ snuck in to 20th place. Biggie's actually on the list with about the same type of stats that BIT has. Actually, BITY has better stats than BIGY. Maybe let's try to run this again. Maybe because I just had a BITY an hour ago or 2 hours ago. Maybe BITY will be on here. It's Amplify. It's a 2% target fund. Well, that's not good. For whatever reason, it made the top 20 list go away. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I'll have a talk with my AI after I get out of here. Okay. Well, anyway, that's fine. Let's go back to the database. We can still see. I can just sort it this way, and a bunch of them aren't working. But anyway, AMD, NVDY, TSMY. I mean, this is definitely working. These are ones that deserve to be up there. QDTY, Carvani, MSFY is killing it. GPTY, OARC. There's that old COIW killing it. Chippy, PLTW, CLM hanging in there. Soxy, Goop, Biggie. There it is. I told you, Biggie deserves to be there if Biggie's there. Now, this is a good use case. Let's look at these two. Okay, so why is Biggie? Look at this. Biggie only makes 9% yield. Biddy makes 23% yield. NAV upside is very similar. And in fact, I mean, Biddy makes a little bit more, but it's the volatility adjustment. That's all it is. Look at the let's do it like this. Average shoe range. That's in percentage points. So BIGY it's the top 50. It's big blue chip stock, so it's not very volatile. It moves less than 1% every day. It only moves 0.75% every day. So that's index level volatility. That's about like the SPYT or something. That's low volatility, and it factors in. Nothing wrong with BITY, but just be aware you're going to be in for a wild ride because it moves 2.2% a day. So anyway, but that's the reason the Biggie's ahead of it, but they're both good. Then we have Eggs and Eggy, and then KQQQ. This one you don't hear about that much. Maxi. Somebody on Twitter gave me a hard time because I didn't have any Bitcoin assets on there. They're saying Bitcoin's the best asset of the century and all that stuff. And I was trying to explain this is just for high yield funds and Bitcoin is good and stuff, but it'd be unfair to put it on here. And he was saying fair doesn't matter. Well, because you can't think. He wasn't being mean. He just said you can't think about fair because this thing's going to be at $1 million in a few years. So anyway. But and I looked at the list and it didn't have anything on it. It had LFGY, and that was the one that had the error in it, and it's since dropped off. What it was, it didn't have Friday's results factored in yet. When it got Friday's results, it dropped off the list. By the way, Maxi is a pure Bitcoin play that is high yield, right? I mean, and it's the highest ranked one I have. YBTC is also, it's as pure as you're going to get from a yielding asset. So. But Maxi's badass. It pays a 28% dividend, and right now it has 13.6% NAV return for the quarter. Oh, and get this, I added a new column, and I also have the 1 year total return. Now, a lot of these haven't been around for a year, and this doesn't figure into the formula because it's too long. I don't want to look over that long of a time frame, and these other things are the inputs for the total return anyway. But just for informational purposes, it's nice to be able to look at this. So yeah, Maxi is up 58% on a rolling basis. That's impressive. I mean, that is really impressive. Look, the other ones that are up a bunch are Fibby, 45%. or not even, this isn't up. I shouldn't say it up because that'd be like the NAV's up. I mean, the NAV is also going to be up on these, but they're ahead this much in total return. These are our total return champions. I'm trying to see if we have any. They'll probably be at the top of the list. Any other ones? But a lot of the ones at the top of the list aren't a year old yet. So, but on this list, it looks like Maxis are total return champ, killing it. Anyway, okay, so look, and triple QI is hanging in there. It's not, what is that, 2022? Let's just look at its numbers. Pretend like if we didn't know it's triple QI. Has a yield of 69%. Average true range, low average true range. So very safe relatively. I mean, non-volatile, whatever. I mean, because it's an index base. So 81 basis points a day. It's not even 1%. So not super wild. NAV return is where it gets hurt though, you know, because it pays that 69% dividend and you know, but you combine them together with the 4% NAV return and it's, you know, sneaks in at 22nd. But let's check its 1 year total return. Yeah, 7.21. So also not great total return. Here's QDTE right next to it, which a lot of people think is a better alternative. Let's just compare it. Instead of paying 69, it pays 36, has half the dividend. It's a little bit more volatile. That's because it's not capped at night. That's exactly why that is, because it's free to move. In my opinion, that's why. That may not be all it is, but anyway, but it moves a point every day. But heck, that's not that bad. I mean, a point every day is nothing. A lot of these move 3 points every day. And that's not bad, but it's just something you have to be aware. So NAV return is not great. It's 8%, but it's twice as good as 4%. But of course, the yield's about half. So that, you know, to me, that's in line. And they're both about the same. Volatility is not a huge difference. I mean, I know it's 20%, but, you know, neither of them are super volatile. But this is where it's really shining. The 1 year they've got the right mixture of, they have the right mixture. I think they're more well balanced because somehow they're squeaking out 18.4% total return. Let's see. Well, anyway, let's see if there's any others down. Here's ULTY. Let's see how close ULTY is to getting back on the list. I mean, ULTY's just, I mean, I can't believe ULTY's. I don't think ULTY would really be that high once these other ones up here start showing up again. Although none of these are any good, I don't think any of these are going to be ahead of ULTY. I mean, Abney will. Well, I don't know. NVDW definitely will. SMCY definitely will. FEPI, yeah, there's probably 5 or 6 of these will be ahead of ULTY. Anyway, be that for what it's worth. We'll look at them in the morning on the morning show. ULTY has 115% yield. Average true range of 12 cents a day, which doesn't sound like that much, but it's 2%. So it's about twice as volatile as some of the other ones, but it's not that bad. NAV return is where it's really hurting. It's only 2.56 NAV return, but a lot of that, it hadn't been doing great lately. But the 1 year total return, though, is 22%, which is even better than QDTE, which is a really good fund. I mean, that's very respectable. 22% 1 year return, very respectable. Doing a good job. They'll be back. Hopefully, they'll be back at the top of this list soon. All right. Do you want me to look at anyone's favorite fund? If you guys have one that you want me to look at, I'd be happy to. There it is. Hey, Danger Whisk. I haven't seen you around here in a while. I wouldn't say that. We lost a good one tonight. Evidently, I'm not trying to spread. I'm not going to say it was, but I read that there's an influencer that a lot of us know and love And hopefully his account got hacked, and he's saying he's hanging it up. Anyway, and he was really good. Anyway, but thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. NVDX, we'll definitely look at that. Okay, so I thought, but see, Ben, somebody else that I trust named Mark told me it pays Tuesday. But anyway, I'll figure it out. The thing is, since I don't know, since I can't figure out, I want a definitive list that, and until I get a definitive list, I'm not going to put it in mind. But as soon as I get a definitive list, maybe this week I'll just write it down as it happens. Once they pay on one day, they're going to keep that day forever. I mean, for a while, right? They aren't going to pay Tuesday one week and Wednesday the next. I sure don't hope they don't. So maybe this week I'll just track what happens and then we'll go from there. But whatever it pays, I'll start tracking it, and we'll make whenever it pays, I'll start tracking it, and I'll make a get paid every day list. So NVDX is what you were looking at. All right. So NVDX, what in the heck is NVDX? That's like a leveraged one, right? Let me see here. Like a 2 times leverage or something. Yeah. So some of these leveraged ones do pay a yield, but they aren't really yielding. They're especially the inverse leverage one. There's some that like have a yield they pay because they paid a special dividend at the end of the year, but these aren't yield stocks per se. So I don't think they'll ever be in the max factor. Not that they can't be a great tool to have. And I mean, look at this. I mean, 1 year return of 50%. So what is this? Double long NVIDIA. So, okay, let's look at NVDA. Now these, let me see this. Performance for the year, 67%. See, it didn't even do as good as the parent. It only got 50%. And it's double leveraged. The leveraged ones do really have volatility erosion where their price erodes, but you can't always tell. It sure doesn't look like TQQQ has erosion, but they do. In other words, even on a triple leverage fund, if the market's up 50% in a year, they won't be up 150%. They may be up more than 50%, but it'll be some lesser level. Anyway, but that kind of surprised me that NVDX isn't up more. But maybe it hasn't been out long enough. Maybe that's not. And there's no yield. I mean, they did pay a payment, like I said. I mean, in December, what did they pay? $2. I mean, that's a good payment on a $20 stock. They paid 10%. You still wouldn't call it a yielding fund, though. Or I wouldn't. I mean, these guys are on fire. I mean, you know, but 1 year return, 50%. Oh, no, here it is. Performance for the year, 72%. Okay. That's what I'm saying. So it's double leveraged. They got 72% for the year, and the parent got 67. Anyway, but if it works for you, that's fine. A lot of people say leverage is the new margin, that you don't have to use margin. You can just buy leverage funds, buy half as much leverage funds. In other words, instead of buying the Qs, buy the triple Qs. But instead of buying the Qs on margin, you can buy the triple Qs not on margin and give yourself the same effect. All right, just a straight earnings coming up trade. Oh, okay. You want to do an NVDX earning? So you're playing NVIDIA earnings. When do they have earnings? I mean, it seemed like a lot of people had earnings this past week, but yeah, I didn't see NVIDIA on there. So yeah, the 27th this month. Okay. All right, so they have earnings in 3 weeks. So heck yeah, you just want to get in it in front of earnings. I got you. Okay, let's see what else I want to talk about. I want to talk about ULTY's free hedge. We already talked about that. The UVX hedge. We looked at those things. Yeah, so speaking of ULTY, though, let's go look at ULTY. I like ULTY and everything, but I really want the market to bounce here, and because I mean, it just pays such a high yield that if the market rolls over, this is going to really roll over hard. But I was making a note. So there's a conspiracy theory out there that the weekly dividends helped fix the erosion, and I don't think that's true. And I just think the market. I mean, and there's also another conspiracy theory, one that I've started, that the collar strategy helped the dividends, and it doesn't really look like it helped the NAV. Help the NAV situation. It doesn't really look like it here, because the collar situation started right here on October 15th. There's pretty much straight down until that April low. So, and we had some up markets in there. Late November was good, and it just, it cannot catch its breath. But the thing is, they do such a good job at selling premium. If you want to look at it, you have to look at it on a total return basis, and it has done really well. But as far as just the NAV, if you're just ultra focused on the NAV has been doing better for sure. But let's run it since inception against the SPY, and then we'll run it since the change against the SPY. So since inception against the SPY, it's lagging behind. Now let's run it since the change. So I'm not saying the fund's broken or the fund's doing good, but the NAV, I mean, I don't think the weekly may make the distributions less at a time, and they make it appear, like there's less problems with the NAV, but I don't think that's the case. As far as the total return goes, this makes a good case for ULTY right here, because they're just absolutely spanking the SPY. And I don't look at the top one. That's drip. Well, but I mean, I do drip my ULTY though, but I just don't think it's an apples. I don't think it's fair, because a lot of people just take the dividends and do other stuff with it. So the bottom chart is that chart. So this makes a great case for ULTY, because it's not just like it zipped ahead right here at the end because the market blew up. It was ahead the whole time. It was leading the whole time. It protected capital. It didn't go down as low, in the April pullback from where it started. And then it was in line with the market, but because it was up, because it went higher. So this is a really good look for it. So I think ULTY is a great fund. I think BLOX is going to be a good fund. Let's check out ULTY against LFGY. I haven't run that test yet. I got LFGY because I wanted DeFi exposure, and there was no other way to get DeFi exposure. Now there's BLOX, and ULTY has a lot of DeFi in it. But LFGY may, I may have to put that one out to pasture and trade it in for BLOX. I mean, because between BLOX and ULTY, I probably have enough of those types of stocks. And, this one, I mean, if you look at this one, let's look at LFGY against the SPY. Yeah. LFGY is fired. You're fired, LFGY. I don't know. Hey, SB, how are you doing? Hey, Mike, NVYY is interesting. Okay. Yeah, NVYY is interesting, for sure. Let's check it out real quick. These are all interesting. Oh yeah, we've already looked at this. I'm sorry, I forgot that was when we looked at. I'm sorry, my bad on that. Well, anyway, I have a list, and on August 14th, let me show you who's coming up. And I'm trying to be proactive, because I know I have a bad memory. So I have this down here called To Be Announced. And this is what I check every weekend to see if I need to put anything new on here. That's why I got Biddy and Baggy, because their three-month anniversaries happened last week. So, but what we have coming to looking forward to is MST. And I know that one's really popular. And of course, NV2 and all the twos. I mean, I just have NV2, but I bet you a lot of them came public the same day. And then we have NVYY on August the 14th. We have Huey. Huey's a monster. Oh my gosh, Huey's probably going to go straight to number one on the Max Factor. But yeah, like I say, I really like Maggie. And I think Maggie's interesting. Let's see how Maggie's been doing. Well, Maggie's Max 7. Let's compare Maggie to YMAG. Come on, Maggie, what are you doing? Now, to be honest, of course, be honest. To be fair, look at Maggie's NAV. If you're if you're a NAV person, YMAG's is barely above water, and that's in a ripping bull market. Maggie, on the other hand, has made $4, made about 8% on NAV. That's probably 6% or something. Anyway, you could see, but what do you want to bet YMAG's dividend is bigger? $2 on 14 as opposed to $4 on 50. I'd rather have 2 on 14 myself than 4 on 50. So yeah, bigger dividend, a little bit worse NAV. See what else I wanted to talk about. Is there any other stocks you guys want me to look at or talk about or make a comment on? I'd be happy to do it. But basically, I just want to talk about ULTY and maybe check out the market one more time and that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to check in with you guys. See if any. I got some good feedback on my high yield math. So I'm never sure how those are going to go. But one guy wrote to me and he said, "So you mean to tell me?" Or he didn't say. He said, "So if I have a stock that's NAV is down 20%, but it paid a 50% dividend, I'm ahead 30%." And I said, "Yeah." But then I started thinking about it, and I said, "Well, yes, it's a rule of thumb, but is that really true?" So I sat there in the comment. I did a couple of them. I said, "Yeah, that it is where it will get you within a point or two." But so I did an example in the comments on XDTE, and it came out to the point. The ones where it doesn't work so well is when something pays triple digits. It messes up the calculations because it's not truly a linear type thing, but I'm just using the end of the year percentages and it gets you real close. So yeah, if you have something that pays 50% yield, and even if it goes down 20% a year, that's not good, or still may not be a good fund for you. There may be other reasons you don't want it, but you should still get 30% total return out of that with that math. That's exactly how that works. Yeah, you got to sell your own options. That's always a great idea. Always a great idea. Okay, let's look at the market. Any of you guys copying some of Jay's trades or using some of those same stocks? Oh, that's something else I wanted to talk about. So my friend ETF Delta over there on Twitter, he's so good with numbers. He somehow, I've wanted to figure this out, but I don't have any idea how I would do it. He figured out for the quarter what the stocks that ULTY owns would be up. I could look at the stocks that they have now and go back a quarter and tell you what they're up, but he normalized it and he figured out when they put them in and when they dropped it. Anyway, he did the work on it. He has the receipt, so to speak. He says that ULTY is up, the stocks are up, the underlines are up. If they just owned the underlines and did nothing else, their underlines are up 70% this quarter. So, or since he's been measuring since April, so I guess that's this quarter, right? Anyway, man, that's incredible. So the dividend has to come out of there, and they pay a huge dividend, but that's the reason their NAV's been going up, because their stocks the stocks they have are able to support that dividend. And then some. If he had an idea and he's pitching it to he's pitching it in Twitter, and I mentioned he should mention it to some of the fund managers, but he has an idea. He says, "Why don't you guys make a fund? Why didn't somebody make a growth fund where they just why doesn't YieldMax make a growth variant of ULTY where you can just buy ULTY, and it's the same people putting the stocks in and out. They don't sell any options. You know, just a growth fund, but use so copy trading ULTY using that because they are seemingly doing a pretty good job of stock picking. And then my idea that I added to that is, yeah, maybe do that. And I get, because not everyone wants a yield fund. I mean, there's more to life than yield funds. You can do other stuff with options. So why don't they come out with an ULTY that's a hedged ULTY that owns all those funds, but they own VIX options, or they, you know, somehow they're hedged because think it goes up 70%, you know, and then you hedged it and it still went up 50% or something. And, but it didn't pay an income. You used options to hedge it instead of paying an income. So you wouldn't use callers. You would just buy puts with part of the income. So you'd have fully uncapped upside and a hedged downside. And Jay and Scott Snyder and all the option bros over there that are option experts, they use their expertise for hedging. And I think that would be a good one, because a lot of these people that are in these high yield option funds, they're really growth investors. And so I think if you made a growth ULTY, you know, GLTY, growth ULTY, or, you know, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Or do you guys like the income? I mean, income's fine, but options can be used for a jillion purposes. I mean, you don't have to, there's other things. You don't have to sell calls. You can also buy puts. You can sell calls and buy puts. There's a jillion things you can do. You can sell calls and puts at the same time and put yourself in a neutral position. You can sell 2 calls and sell 1 put and put yourself in a neutral-ish position, but slightly bullish. There's a jillion things, and those guys know every trick in the book. But I would be interested in that if they came out with ULTY, or just uncapped ULTY. It'd be ULTY just where they just own the stocks, you know. And they don't have to do the puts. It might just be interesting if they just had ULTY where it was just the stocks, so you count all the upside. Anyway, I think that might be interesting. Hey, I've been on Twitter a lot. If anyone hasn't followed me there and you do Twitter, go follow me. I've blown up on Twitter because I posted my top 20 list there last night, and I got all good comments. Got only 1 or 2 bad comments. Not really bad, but you know, but all good comments anyway. And I've doubled my subscription count overnight. So, and I'm not broadcasting over there. I'm not simulcasting or anything, but I do. But it is a good place to put content and stuff. I could have sworn I changed this. Anyway, I could have sworn I just changed this to be new. I put a more recent picture on there. Anyway, but yeah, look at this, 214 followers. I had I haven't doubled overnight, I should say. I had 130 though. I had 133, 136 or something yesterday, and I'm up to 214. So, but it's mainly because I did the max factor, and I said, is your favorite fund on here? And, you know, anyway, I got some. Anyway, it's Max Convexity Man. If you do Twitter, Max Convexity MAN at Twitter. I was just going to show you. I was just going to check in on my recent count. Boy, I've been really putting on the subscribers. Anyway, but that's about all the news I had. Let's check over here, see what the market's doing. It's up a little bit more. Look, it's up 33 basis points. One day at a time. I mean, I'm going to be really happy when we get on the other side of this area, you know, but we get on the other side of this 50 period or this 200 period moving average. So, you know, even though this is just a 30-minute chart, I mean, it's what the, you know, on a daily chart, we're well above the 30-minute moving average. I mean, the 200-day moving average, but on this, but you can do the same type things. You can say, I think you could say on this chart, we're in a bear market on this chart. We're under the 30 and under the 50, but we took the 50 back. We'll take the 200 back soon enough. I'm just worried about this void where there was no trades, where it just fell through like a knife through hot butter. I'm just worried there might be sellers there the first time, but we'll see. We'll just have to take it a day at a time. but that's what I'm keying off of is those levels. Bitcoin's already, I mean, if Bitcoin's leading the way, and on Bitcoin, we just need to be above this 115 level. This was an area, this was the opposite situation. It was a bullish gap that we lost and we're trying to take back. Anyway, LFG, baby, right? LFG. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you all for being here. And I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about, but I'll let you guys go. It's a Sunday night. I'm going to go work on some stuff. I'll fix any of those things that were broken. I'll have them fixed by the morning. Maybe not the week that get paid every day. I still don't have a definitive list on that. But I think this is probably pretty right. Maybe I should just use this. I should just go with this. But that brings me to my question. Why is it? I thought there was a Monday pay, but this guy does say somewhere this is in beta. It's, I'm still putting trades on here. Plus I talked to him on Twitter and he said he's still working on this, but maybe week isn't on here because maybe he just is into the high paying funds, which I get. But so for Monday, do we really not have anybody? Man, it seems like a fund could come out with a decent fund with the Monday payday and do really well. But then this next Monday, you have down here. Okay, I think that's last week, maybe. So yeah, that's right. So this is this week. So they do are so all these are is AMZW a Monday payday and NFLW and okay and is MST seriously all that's on Wednesday? Surely that's not right. ULTY stuff or in Defiance J stuff is Thursday, right? On for a pay date. The thing that throws me off is, here's the thing that throws me off. Check this out. See, it says X and record date. So really that just means it's X date and record date. Payment date is blue. So no, I do think that there's still no one on Monday as far as the payment date. He's just showing the X dates. Okay. So blue is the payment date. And it doesn't look like there's anyone on Wednesday as far as the payment date. And these Thursdays, I don't even think that's right because I thought Defiance and I thought these did like WTE. I thought it really WDTE. I thought it really did pay Thursday. Anyway, as soon as I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. All the Rexes pay Wednesday. I mean, I thought I had a handle on it. I went to Amy. I went to Miss Roundhill on hers and I wrote down everything she had. I put on my spreadsheet, but it turns out those were the declaration dates, and it wasn't the same as the pay dates. So I'm not really sure. But yeah, so if all the Rexes pay Wednesday, I agree with you. If that's true, and I think I've heard that also. Maybe he just hasn't put the Rexes in yet. I mean, he has them on Wednesday the 30th, so he just hasn't copied those down yet. I guess if I go through them and put the weeks together, but still now my question is, so who pays on Thursday? Just MST? I know there's more than just MST. Like I say, when I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. Thanks for being here, Ben. I hadn't seen you yet. I appreciate it. Okay, Maggie, I know that's right. Maggie and BLOX are Monday. Well, like he said, he said this was still in beta. He's working on it. He said he was going to work on it tonight. Dude, I know how hard this stuff is. I mean, this stuff's, working on spreadsheets and trying to program stuff or get AI to program it, But yeah, that's right. Okay, well, maybe I just need to make my own list or something. I asked Gemini, I asked Grok. They couldn't really figure it out. They just searched the sites and they gave me declaration dates and they really didn't know too much. I guess we're just going to have to figure it out. Here's what maybe we should do is I'm just going to write down everyone that pays on Monday. I'll see who pays tomorrow and that are weekly, and then we'll put them down for next week, and that kind of stuff. And then I'll just build the database by hand, I guess. I thought Thursday was a lot of them, but yeah, that sounds right too. The W's from Round Hill pay Tuesday. Rex pays Wednesday. Monday's Maggie and BLOX. Yeah, that's right, because BLOX went Monday because there's a space there for that. Yeah, I think those are right. All right, well, I'll look at this comment stream and start after I get out of here, and I'll put those in the spreadsheet. But I think that's right too. And I guess if nothing else, it's not the end of the world. If one of those is wrong, we'll just change we'll update it on the spreadsheet when we figure out when it is. But yeah, that sounds right. And I remember that for sure. Maggie and BLOX are Monday. So yeah, I'll go do that as soon as I get out of here. I'm not tired yet. I'm going to go work on making the spreadsheets better, or the programming and all that kind of stuff. Well, guys, I appreciate you being here. There's 14 of you here. It means a lot to me. And I hope you guys have a great evening. Sorry, I forgot to share the screen at first. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great evening, and I will talk to you soon. All right, see ya.